withheld from all of us are as, I don't know, as Jack Nicholson said in that movie, We Can't Handle the Truth. You know, there's a very large measure of truth in that statement, because it's so dastardly, it's so huge that it's been able to exist. The lie has been able to exist right under our nose for, well, let's just say that I choose to say the 30s. Some will say it's been 100 years, and it really doesn't matter what point you want to pick to say that the lie began. Just know that it did, and now it's time for it to run full circle and be exposed. The lie is really something as simple, at one time as simple as knowing that we do not have any politicians, and we do not elect anybody to fill the vacant seats of our government. We elect players, role players in a corporation, and the purpose of the corporation is what is about to be uncovered. And it is, I tell you what, every day I get more and more amazed. I never thought I could be surprised. But Clayton, I'm here to tell you, this morning I am surprised. Well, I can't get too specific in this because the news has yet to break. But just let it suffice to say today, right now, as I'm speaking, that the movement is afoot to expose, not just expose, the exposition has occurred to distribute the information to fellow Americans. We still have our constitutional republic if we choose to use it, if we choose to live it. It is strictly up to us. And we have various means by which we can do that. One of which is going to be becoming ever more present is that common law grand jury. Not necessarily the one that John Duresh talks about, or the one that I started down here in 2009. Now, the ones that work. The ones where people understand what it's about and the responsibilities that they have and have to employ. And right now, I only know of two that have grasped that concept. One is Joaquin de Moreta, and the other one is David Robinson. But there will be more, trust me, there will be more. So we have a new day dawning, Clayton. I tell you what, since we talked last night, the highlight of my day yesterday was going out and picking a gallon of blueberries. But I wake up this morning to an entirely new reality. Rather interesting, to say the least. But go ahead.
Well, this reality, I've gotten information from our mutual friend's site here that on June 19th, the organic American States of the Union, known as the United States of America, exercising plenary civil power upon the land, issued orders to all members of the domestic police forces, U.S. Marshal's Office, Provost Marshal, members of the American Bar Association and American Armed Services, and appointed General Carter F. Ham to lead and command the Grand Army of the Republic and its successors under the guidance of the Joint Chiefs of Staff with their full support. And it goes on to say the orders stipulated that should it become necessary to suppress commercial mercenary forces operating under the guise of being federal government agencies, including but not limited to the Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Emergency Management Administration, the Internal Revenue Service, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, General Ham should immediately assume command and control of all armed forces and services owed to the United States of America stationed in North America.
You know, I read that, and I said, yeah, that's where we are. However, when I read that yesterday, it didn't have the full meaning that it does now today. Those are legitimate orders.
Okay.
That's all I want to say to everybody out there. If you were party, if your state was party to declaring its sovereignty by virtue of its affiliation with RUSA or nation states, or is currently involved in working with the Union States Assembly, I strongly suggest you start getting together with your assemblymen and getting your state together again. Gather as many people as you can. The time to come together for the reckoning with the military is at hand. We are going to have that meeting, and direction is going to have to be given. The only direction that they can take is from the civilian authority, and right now we are the only civilian authority, because there is none coming from D.C. That is the corporation, that is the evildoer that has been perpetrating this lie upon us, this fraud upon us, for time immemorial, it seems. So right now is the time. Forget about any misgivings you might have as far as what had gone on before, the cast of players that you associated with, the Tim Turners and the Sam Kennedys and anybody else out there that has taken those well-intentioned people in the wrong direction. The restoration of this nation is at hand, and it's only going to happen when we come together, enough of us come together to be able to command the military to do what needs to be done. And what needs to be done is a cleansing in D.C. and across the nation of these corporate players. We have seen time and again just egregious displays of power on the part of those, and have wondered all along, not only is that the motivation in fact stems from what happens when you are caught in a lie. Only this time, the lie is so big that they have the power to come before the nation. It will destroy the corporation itself. That's where we're at. The corporation is the federal government. The corporation is your local government. It is your county government. The corporation, for all intents and purposes, folks, is the Borg. Do you understand the concept?
I certainly do, sure, yep.
So, all of the hints that we've been given from Hollywood, whether they were intended to be that or not, must now start to resonate inside of your skulls and reach a crescendo of action.
Now, where did this break? We've been talking about this for years, many years. Where did this? How did this break come about? Who woke up? I mean, we've been trying to wake up the sheriffs. We've been trying to wake up law enforcement from the days of Jack McLam. Been trying to educate the military and the police for 20 years. Where did this? How did this suddenly happen? And we've been talking about the common law grand jury. Matter of fact, I just had the Texas Liberty Movement, Texas grand jury. They're supposed to be forming, they're bringing together about 40 counties up at a meeting in Waco on the 12th of this month. So, you know, people are waking up, and people are trying to take action. But this sounds like a major breakthrough that you're talking about. And how did they, where did this come from? Who is coming from this? I haven't been able to confirm this General Ham. Don't know him, haven't talked to him, haven't spoken to him. And we've had a few military that have tried to do something.
Well, you do know that General Ham was the one that was in receipt of the call for help from the Benghazi people when they were under attack, and he was the one that was not hesitant and was about to send troops to the rescue, and it was his underling who immediately stepped in and relieved General Ham of his duty. That is where most people know General Ham. What most people don't know or can really understand is how is it a senior officer can so quickly be relieved of duty unless it was planned, because a junior officer does not take that action lightly, nor does he take it on his own. So he had to be trained on what to do and when to do it, which means that prior to Benghazi, the contingency plans were already drawn up. They knew this was going to happen, in other words. So all of these little pieces to the puzzle have been out there for us, and some of the more curious efforts on the part of the corporation to silence and to have a show of force, to distract us. And by the way, Waco was one of those, as is Ruby Ridge and many other such incidents.
I've always said that Waco was a psychological operation just to see how much of the American people would take. Would we put up with the government killing 17 little children and their families to save them from a child molester?
Well, you know, the Oklahoma City bombing, 9/11. I can go on, but the list is long. And are they what you think they are? No, they are not. But what they are is part of a long list of directives and plans set out there by these power-hungry brokers of destruction that have been the puppet masters behind the scenes of our federal government. And for those puppet masters, I say, make peace with your maker, because there is a tree with your rope dangling from it.
It's my opinion that's why they outlawed hemp in this country. They didn't want us to have the rope to hang them with.
Well, we're gonna come up with, or have to get a very large supply, very large supply. So the makers of hemp rope, well, even though we may not have any here locally, they still exist, and it still winds up being the best for the purposes that it was designed for. This day and tomorrow are going to find us coordinating release of certain bits of information that will tie together everything that you've come to know, Clayton, that I've come to know, and that other people have intimated. It ties all these things together so that we can finally have the understanding we need in order to walk out the door in the morning with purpose and to know exactly what needs to be done and then do it. And when I say do it, I mean we restore this nation and we rid it of the vermin that has been infecting us for so long.
It's certainly been the reason I've been doing what I've been doing for the last 25 years.
Well, I'm here to say, Clayton, that the salvation shall soon be yours. Vindication is right at hand. And when we get done with this show, I'll be able to expand a little bit further on that. So what I can say right now is that, folks, the truth is that which we have not been able to wrap our heads around. The truth is really simple. The truth is that it is a corporation. And if you look at each and every group that we're talking about, the Federal Reserve, the Treasury Department, the federal government, the state government, the local government, if you look, the one thing that they all have in common is that they are all incorporated. And it would behoove you to find out who the officers of that corporation for your alleged government are. And you might want to make that as a personal quest. Dun & Bradstreet has some of that information. But you know something? Your Secretary of State has that information on file. So a little trip down there would probably be in order. Oh, was that? Clayton, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you all right. I'm just having some difficulty connecting with some of my channels here.
Well, I'll tell you what. While you connect, you go ahead and talk to them. I'm going to slip in here and get my my coffee, which is freshly brewed.
All right, go right ahead. There's some more things that we need to be talking about. The U.S. again. Go ahead and get your coffee there. The U.S., the elite that Carl's talking about, they are members of the New World Order. They are the planning behind this, and they are now running another Ukrainian genocide. Well, the American public are ignorant of it. I've just been looking at pictures of bombed out houses in the Ukraine. On Wednesday, July 2nd, Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko resumed unlimited war against the residents of southeastern Ukraine, whom he calls terrorists for their not wanting to be killed by his troops. European leaders, especially Merkel of Germany, Holland of France, and Putin of Russia, urged him not to resume his bombing campaign against the southeast, but the U.S., specifically President Obama, supports the bombing, and that's enough for Poroshenko, so he did it. As the U.S. State Department said, he has a right to defend his country. Reuters reports that Poroshenko gave his reason for the resumption to rid Ukraine of parasites. Adolf Hitler gave the same reason for the ethnically cleansing of his country. I've got videos and photos of the Obama administration's sponsored ethnic cleansing to reduce the populations in the areas of the Ukraine that had voted overwhelmingly the wrong way in the Ukraine's final nationwide election in 2010. The areas of Ukraine that overwhelmingly chose Ukraine's president the man who the Obama coup overthrew in February 2014. After this ethnic cleansing, maybe the Ukraine can have another nationwide election that will produce the type of outcome the U.S. government likes. But on May 25th, 2014, and this is coming from the Ukraine. They say we held in the Ukraine an election where people voted only in the pro-American portion of the Ukraine, and only leaders who were acceptable to the U.S. White House were allowed to ballot. America's news media are not reporting on the America's ethnic cleansing program in the Ukraine. It's happening in the dark. As far as the American public are concerned, they don't know about it. But here it is, and this is what they are hiding from you. They don't call this ethnic cleansing operation what it is. They instead call it Ukraine's anti-terrorist operation, or ATO for short. The people we're massacring are terrorists. What they actually are simply residents of the parts of the Ukraine that had voted overwhelmingly for Viktor Yanukovych on the 7th of February to become president. The final nationwide election in the Ukraine. Now, here these millions of terrorists are now being bombed by us, fleeing to Russia, and fleeing our bombs as part of our ethnic cleansing operation, not of any anti-terrorist organizations, because we, the United States itself, are terrorizing them to flee. And we, our government, if they really represented us, which obviously they do not, are therefore mass murdering them. If this is what the U.S. news media has been hiding from us by reporting Obama's lies, as those lies represent truths instead of lies, just like Bush's lies about Saddam's weapons of mass destruction did, and the U.S. media did before we invaded Iraq on March 19th. And when they show pictures of these bombed out buildings in the Ukraine, they kind of ask the question, is this what our future is going to look like? Carl?
Yeah, actually that is part of what's in store for us right now. I didn't understand why we had this need to have so many UN vehicles in this nation right now.
I've got it on the cover of my July issue. I've got the UN tanks, and I've got other pictures of the UN cars, armored cars, on trains here in America.
They're on the move right now, and they have been for the past few weeks. And I guess what they're doing is staging at this point, getting ready for something that is about to occur.
Well,
and whether it's about to occur by virtue of what is going to be exposed, or whether it's going to occur because the powers that be have laid forth the plan and the time for this to happen, I can't tell you that. But I can tell you that they are being mobilized right now. Our forces are now being mobilized in the sense that the militias are coming with a sixth sense that something really is afoot. Yes, it is. We are being war upon by this alleged president, this CEO, whatever you want to call the person that is occupying the White House. He has unleashed a chemical weapon on the United States and is using the protective forces of the federal government in order to distribute this disease across the nation. Now, folks, I'm not sure if you can really understand the significance of this, but what's happening in Murrieta, California right now is that he is sending in federal troops to make sure that these kids from origins allegedly unknown are given safe passage across the border to be distributed to points across the nation. This is an act of war against us. Period. End of statement. And that, my friends, is not even the news that's going to be distributed. But if you can't see that, it's going to be hard to grasp the full measure of the truth when it hits you in between the eyes. It's all afoot right now, right this minute.
That's right. And those illegals, those families, those children, they're being brought up here by train. They're being transported across Mexico. So obviously the Mexican government, part of this whole North American Union plan that almost got derailed not too long ago. It's happening now. They're bringing the families up, and the UN's coming in to oppose us, the Americans that are stopping them, the militia that are stopping them. They're already talking about in Nevada, the sheriff of Clark County, Nevada, is part with them. He's working with them, and he is trying to bring charges against the Bundys right now for resisting the BLM and these other New World Order armed forces, armed to the teeth. Hell, even the postal services, every branch of the federal government has been issued arms.
And it doesn't stop there, my friends. Oh no, it just keeps getting better and better and better. We are rapidly approaching that point where the words of Patrick Henry are starting to ring true once more. The chains, I can now hear them clanking down the street. The jackboots, well, the jackboots are the same jackboots that were in our country during the revolutionary times. They're here now. And they're coming after every one of you. If you have anything that is of value, then you will summarily have it removed from you. That's what we're witnessing. That's what the case of the Bundys was about.
The cattle, take the cattle and kill them, and going after the food supplies too. That's what they always do. They go after the food supply because they don't want you being able to feed yourself. That's why it suddenly becomes somehow illegal to grow a garden in your backyard. The jackboot thugs will come in and stomp your tomatoes.
That is exactly right.
Now let me, on page 20 of this issue, the July issue of the Free American, the title of the story, the UN is positioning to lock down the U.S. Dave Hodges says, my military sources tell me their greatest fears are beginning to become realized because the United States will be, in the relative near future, this country will be under martial law, and the bulk of the occupation force will be comprised of foreign troops operating under the flag of the United Nations. Under the heading, Hiding in Plain Sight, the United Nations is advertising for the following position: Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration Officer. Job title code is the Department of Peacekeeping Operations, Duty Station, New York. A minimum of 7 years of progressively responsible experience in disarmament, demobilization, reintegration, or related areas. Experience working within peacekeeping, peace-building, or development programs, operations is desirable. Experience with small arms control, conflict, post-conflict, crisis management, economic recovery is desirable. Experience coordinating multiple partner agencies, funds, or programs is desirable. Peacekeeping is normally a euphemism used for gun confiscation and population subjection. If there's any doubt of the veracity of this claim, the following phrase, experience with small arms control, should remove any doubt as to what is coming. Further, this job description uses phrases like demobilization, and further, the phrase reintegration is also significant. By definition, what is re-education camp designed for? Quite simply, is to put, it is designed for reintegration back into society. Back into society from where? The question can be answered with a pair of four-letter words: FEMA camp. This is my page 20 of this issue of the Free American. Carl, you know, and I've been publishing for 25 years. I've never been sued for libel or slander. I'm accurate in what I say. Dave Hodges is a great writer, a great researcher, and he's done a wonderful job on this particular article, and that's just one. You know, we also talk about the ISIS factor in here, and that Israel may have just started the Third World War with what's going on in Syria, which was what's going on in Iraq again. And then you toss in what we just talked about, the Ukraine, and you know, they remember for World War II, they starved to death 11 million people in the Ukraine. What makes you think they won't do it again? What makes you think they aren't doing it right here to us? I suspect that they have actually killed more Americans in this last 20 years than they did in the Russia under Stalin. If you add in the heart attacks, the depleted uranium, the cancers that have run rapid over this country thanks to the spraying and the fluoride in the water. I mean, they're also dumbing us down. People can't even react and can't realize that they are trying to kill us. You know, I'm almost of the opinion here that the elite might be right, and that's typified by Obama's statement. You've heard Obama's statement, haven't you? About the New World Order. Have you heard that? It's, are you still with me?
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. Okay, I just longer I got you. Sorry, kind of on a little bit of a rant here, but I mean this thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, listen, your rant is justifiable. I mean, there are those of us who have been in the forefront of trying to wake up this woefully sleepy giant that is America. And we've been really unsuccessful up to this point, but we've been successful to the point where we've awakened just enough of them so that the ball now has begun to gain momentum and gain mass, much in the same way as a snowball rolling down a hill. It is gaining that momentum right now. So it has just taken a long time for the seeds of truth that were planted by you and others long ago to finally break through whatever veil, whatever fall. You talk about the genocide of these days gone by. How soon do you get of the genocide that has been occurring in this nation for, I don't know, let's see, I guess it's been 50 years or thereabouts since Roe v. Wade. We have murdered our unborn, and in some cases recently born, to the tune of over 60 million.
That's right.
Right there. Before we ever talk about the numbers that they are eliminating through this chemical warfare that they're using upon us. Before we ever think about the chemical warfare that is the pharmaceutical industry working in league with these guys to keep us dumbed down through their chemicals, to keep us fat, lethargic, unresponsive to the stimuli that would normally cause people to jump off of their couch, brandish their guns, and head to the fight in the same way that those patriots, that those heroes in
Let me ask Obama what he thinks about that. Mr. President.
And for the international order that we have worked for generations to build. Ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate your opinion on that, Mr. President.
And he says that across the pond. He
yes.
does not say that here.
No, he said it across the pond, and it's a little out of context, all they did, but it's his words, exactly what he said, and then, of course, he modified it a little bit to say, well, this is what some people think, this is what some people want to do, this is the way some people look at it, and I'm almost of the opinion that he's right, Carl. I mean, when the American people won't react to that, and that's up on my website, that's right next to me and J.B. Campbell, and J.B.'s told you what we need to do. Just, you know, how did that one woman put it? It's too soon to shoot the bastards? Well, not anymore.
Okay. Again, I keep referencing that which is the inspirational message of the millennium. And I will take the time to read it one more time.
Go ahead.
Because, folks, this is it. This is from Patrick Henry when he says, if we wish to be free, if we mean to preserve inviolate those inestimable privileges for which we have been so long contending, if we mean not basely to abandon the noble struggle in which we have begun so long engaged, and which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon until the glorious object of our contest shall be attained, we must fight. I repeat it, sir, we must fight. An appeal to arms and to the God of hosts is all that is left us. They tell us, sir, that we are weak, unable to cope with so formidable an adversary. But when shall we be stronger? Will it be the next week or the next year? Will it be when we are totally disarmed and when a British guard shall be stationed in every house? Shall we gather strength by irresolution and inaction? Shall we acquire the means of effectual resistance by lying supinely on our backs and hugging the delusive phantom of hope until our enemies shall have bound us hand and foot? Sir, we are not weak. If we make a proper use of those means which the God of nature hath placed in our power, the millions of people armed with the only cause of liberty, and in such a country as that which we possess, are invincible by any force which our enemy can send against us. Besides, sir, we shall not fight our battles alone. There is a just God who presides over the destinies of nations, and who will raise up friends to fight our battles for us. The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, the brave. Besides, sir, we have no election. If we were base enough to desire it, it is now too late to fire from the contest. There is no retreat, but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable. and let it come. I repeat, sir, let it come. It is in vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death.
You know, how prophetic are those words? Because it has begun right here in Boston when they put these SWAT teams, these militarized SWAT teams. They have converted our police departments to brown shirts, to the Stasi. And by the way, the guy that they hired to set up Homeland Security was Stasi, was East German police force and the police state. So what did we do? Did we tear down that wall so they could just come to Washington, D.C.?
So it would appear, my friend. So it would appear. And the chains, well, the chains that are forged are on the boxcars that lay in wait to transport people to these FEMA camps. The resounding arms, the fight that is engaged. It may not have started exactly in Boston. It may have started at the Bundy Ranch. It may be starting in Murrieta, California today. We don't know where the actual flashpoint is, but the flashpoint is one of many skirmishes that escalate into what is coming. And what is coming is something so horrific that you cannot imagine it was possible. And it is coming because the powers that be have already told us that it is coming. They have shown us that it is coming. And they have orchestrated events to lead us right to this point in time in history. And we have no choice. And if you are base enough to think that you do, then you will suffer the chains of bondage that are already forged for you. They exist. They are not mere words to marvel at. This is real, folks. It's as real as the bills that come to you each and every month that require you to go work, that require you to sing that wonderful little song, I owe, so off to work I go. That is what they have done to America. And they did it to us because we, by virtue of the documents put forward by our founders, had the capability of withstanding and beating back these forces. We still have that. But if they are allowed in any way, shape, or form to succeed in disarming the people of this nation, which is right now happening in various locales, then it is over.
Well, they are certainly trying to do that, and let's I've got something that I wanted to share with people. It's by Preston James, who is responsible for the Publishers Corner of the July issue. This is Dr. Preston James. He says, and the title of this is Meet the Neo-Bolsheviks. Coming soon to your neighborhood. You ever wonder what the folks were like that murdered the Russian Tsar and his whole family in cold blood in 1917? You're probably going to find out soon, because these same bloodline family successors have hijacked America and are now occupying it. They are taking control of every police department, including yours, and doing all this through the new Homeland Security, the DHS. Percentage-wise, they are a very, very small number, 2%, but they have a great deal of City of London money power behind them, which via AIPAC and the like has propelled them into the most top U.S. government, congressional, and intel positions, as well as most federal judgeships. These Neo-Bolsheviks are the direct descendants of the Russian Bolsheviks, and just like them, they share the same culture, value system, and the very same racial delusion-based agenda, which is to purge America and the world of Goyim. And yes, all evidence suggests there's something seriously lacking in these Neo-Bolsheviks. They appear to have no human souls because of the inhuman acts they continue to perform, which are clearly major crimes against humanity. They've not changed their spot since the Russian Bolshevik Revolution, and continue their same secret hidden agenda based on the Babylonian, Talmud, Kabbalah, and the like. To doubt this, consider what they've been doing to Palestinians, stealing their land against UN regulations, tyrannizing them, and serially mass murdering them. Many of us have heard the rumors of young IDF soldiers occasionally using Palestinian children for sniper practice, and then making a mark on their own shirts for each hit. There are other rumors that as well as good IDF soldiers refusing to be a part of any persecution of the Palestinians, and even quitting the IDF, as many numerous groups inside Israel periodically protesting against Palestinian persecution. But there is still hope for humanity, even in the midst of Neo-Bolshevism Central. But the ruling oligarchy in Israel are World Zionists, and now control Israel policy with an iron fist. And these are basically the same folks that have set up and now control the Department of Homeland Security. The Bolsheviks are back, but this time you and your family have been targeted like almost every American. And Carl, you know, one of those, what we talked about on the last show, was an American family, an elderly American family that happened to be fairly well off and had 10,000 acres and farm, and they were attacked by these Neo-Bolsheviks and a legal system using the City of London lawyers, the Bar Association, to try to take them back, and the common law grand jury stopped them. Now bring us back up to date on that family and Randy Dew, who has been moved, who tried to help them, tried to stand up against them, and has been subjected to diesel therapy to prevent his release. This was a victory for our common law grand jury. There is going to be a common law grand jury meeting in Waco, Texas on the 12th of this month. Hopefully I can attend that, if I can get a dog sitter.
Well, I hope you can attend it too. And by the time that occurs, the information that is going to be put out there will have been made public. They have every reason now to do exactly as has been done up in Nebraska, and I was honored, and I just can't tell you how grateful I am to have been put in the situation of being a part of that situation in Nebraska, where yes, the common law grand jury did in fact exert its full measure of control over the whatever you want to call this entity, the corporation, the crown, the whoever it is that you want to label them as being. They won. They caused the court to stand down and dismiss the charges against Kathleen and Edmund Jesse in Rushville, Nebraska, which is the court that had the jurisdiction for this. And that is something that I have to tell you, folks, that I didn't even expect. I knew that something different was occurring now. I didn't know how to put my finger on what that difference was between the various grand juries, but I know now what it is. And it's as simple as a mindset. We are the kings and queens. We are here by virtue of our Creator. And when He placed us here, we are over the land, and we are charged with being over the land. And it is because of that that we are endowed with the power to regulate our actions. And when the people that we assign power to in order to organize this this movement of men, then those powers at times have to be reined in. And they're not reined in by asking, by pleading, by writing, faxing, or calling. They are called in when you exert your God-given right and you demand that which the good Lord gave us, which is our free will and your rights as you understand them, as long as they do not violate God's laws and commandments. So they do not harm. Other restrictions, codes, and whatever you want to call them, they are put there by man to control man. And those laws do not to the purposes for which they're intended. It is our right, our duty, and our responsibility to abolish them. That is where we find ourselves today. We have abolished that bond that we have allowed to be created, allegedly, for our benefit. So now, it's not at all for our benefit. It's for someone else's benefit. So it was really wild to be able to be in the presence of history in the making. Because the one up there and this court, they no longer have jurisdiction in this matter. And that the common law grand jury did and now made it up there with, by the way, all of those documents can be on listeners' site, scared.com. You might want to take a look at it. They're there for the actions across the country. Some would say, well, he didn't know what he was doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. Well, I'm here to tell you, he knew exactly what he was doing. And when I say he, I'm talking about this guy, Joaquin de Moreta. This guy, who happens to be an immigrant, legal, I might add, has only been in this country for 7 years, but was able to grasp the concepts of our founding documents seemingly better than any of us have been able to do thus far. He reduced it to the simple common denominators of who is in charge, assumed that power, and used that power in order to free what would have been 75-year-old slaves from the clutches, the claws of what some people will now call the justice system. And the justice is this: it is just us. That's all they care about. Just us. Not you, not me, not the food we eat or the land we live on. It's not about any of that.
All right, hang on. We got a station identification break. We'll be right back with Carl Swenssen. Warm up that coffee.
What's really going on in the world that mainstream media won't tell you. At Truth Radio, you can listen live or listen to a large selection of archived programs. TruthRadio.com. The truth is out.
If you have always wanted to understand a little bit more about law, but not make a deep study of it enough that you would get a degree or be admitted to a bar, but you'd still like to know just a little bit more than you have earlier learned, here's the perfect solution for you. We made a number of copies of a booklet entitled Our American Common Law. This booklet is written by Howard Fisher and Dale Pond. If you'd like a copy, this just will really give you a practical grasp of what the common law is and how it fits into your daily affairs as it relates to courts and jurisprudence. Our address is Post Office Box 344, Nipomo, California, zip code 93444. No price, just donate to Truth Radio. We'll send it to you. Thanks. Looking forward to hearing from soon.
All right, hang on just a second. And let me stir my coffee. And I'm back. And let me share this with you. You quoted Patrick Henry. This from our Declaration of Independence, folks. When a long train of abuses and usurpation pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government. That's your Declaration of Independence, folks. And don't you think maybe those that's becoming obvious to you? And the reason I think, Carl, that they don't want to listen to us, they don't want to admit that we're right, they don't want to research for themselves, they don't want to know. Because if they know and they realize it, like you and I, the question becomes, what do we do about it? What do we do about it? We have to take action. I swore I would not watch something like Waco happen again without trying to do something. I am trying to do something. I started this magazine, and this July issue of the magazine, I shared it with you on this show. Yep. You need to get it. $2.99. If you can afford it, man, go, you know, come on. Guys, $2.99, and you've got this whole story about the UN that we've been talking about here. I got a cartoon up somebody sent me with a letter that I want to share with you. Got a picture of a Mexican immigrant holding a Mexican flag. saying, "I demand to live and work in your fascist country, you miserable racist bastard." And this is how it works. It brought down the Roman Empire, and it'll bring down the American Republic if we let it. The guy writes, he says, "I went to Marietta today. One of the most depressing days of my life. The hatred these people have for us is mind-blowing. They shredded American flags and dragged them in the dirt. We, of course, were called racist, even though they did not hide their hatred of us. And we're expected to welcome them? Let just one of us go to Mexico on Cinco de Mayo and shred a Mexican flag." The usual aging white hippies were also there, spouting love one another bullshit. The vitriol coming from the pro-immigration group was mind-blowing. There was a yellow police tape separating the two groups, and they shouted non-stop about our racism, etc. They were vicious. One fellow had a bullhorn and screamed at our side for hours. Some of our people were angry and screamed back. I worked our side and told them the cameras were on us, and of course the coverage would show just us screaming. I told them to be quieter and make them look bad. Worked for a while. Eventually the bullhorn guy comes over to our side, and a few of the guys get into it. 6 people were arrested. There was one particularly aggressive, bitchy white girl on their side who screamed hatred non-stop. Looked like your basic Smith graduate, all smug and morally superior. Their whole theme was concern for the children, which was clever in that who can go against children? Telling them it was illegal only got them going. I was told we were the haters. The U.S. raped every country and killed hundreds of thousands of people. I asked why they wanted to be here. Any conversation was pointless. The entitlement attitude was unbelievable. They demand no gratitude for the millions of U.S. taxpayers that have underwritten all the benefits illegals receive. When we arrived, the first thing that greeted us was a group of people dressed like Aztec Indians, dancing and whooping up and banging on drums. A priest was there with them, and I asked him how he could condone breaking the law. Said we had to love one another, and asked whether I wanted to pray with him in the group. Choking back a "screw you," I declined. One fellow was dressed like Jesus with a predictable "what would Jesus do" bullshit sign. Any comment regarding legal immigration was met with an FU. I would say that 85% of their participants were in the 16 to 25 age group. As the day went by, more and more people on our side arrived. We finally left around 4 because we felt the buses would not be coming. We heard the dates and destinations were no longer going to be announced. They would henceforth be coming in unmarked cars in the dark, and then heard that they would be taking the expected group to Temecula. It was hotter than hell. Most of the police and BP on hand were Hispanic. I'm leaving out a lot because it was a blur. I'm still in shock at the hatred, anger, and demand from their side. It's all backwards. I hope to never be in an environment like that again. I was very shaken, but not frightened. This does not bode well from the future. It is only going to get worse, in my opinion. God bless and keep our beloved country. And referring to them, illegal aliens, referring to them as undocumented workers is like calling a drug dealer an unlicensed pharmacist.
Yeah, it's all been that play on words, and that play on words has been at work in our society. Well, basically, since we allowed the nobility titled purveyors of lies into our seats of government. There's one guy out there his name is Dennis Schofie, and he's firmly convinced that it all starts and stops with the attorneys. And I'm not going to say he's wrong. He's another such person that has had his fortune literally ripped from him, much in the same way that the Bundys find themselves today, and the Jessies. And he made it his quest, and makes it his quest. He's on a radio show out of Tampa, and I don't have the name, but if you do a search for Dennis Shelby, you'll find it. If we ever are so graced by God as to be allowed to get this country back, that missing original 13th Amendment, along with stiffer penalties, must be incorporated in whatever documents we bring forward, because we cannot allow this ever to occur again on the face of the earth. They are the dregs of society. They are the locus of biblical proportions that have swept over this land, gobbling up wealth, gobbling up everything of value, and gobbling up the souls of men. And I don't know how more politically correct I could be in putting forth that message. They cannot be allowed any entry back into a system of governance in this country, or any other country for that matter. We made it our quest and our duty to rid the nation of communism, and yet here we are, a communist nation. What's that? What's up with that?
Well, you know, I mean, I have tried to tell people that every plank on the Communist Manifesto is intact in America today.
Yep.
And been here for 100 years since we got that damn central bank, and since then we got the heavily progressive graduated income tax. And when Franklin Delano Roosevelt ordered you to turn in your gold to the banks for $16 an ounce.
Well, actually, like, no, come on, to be fair, the price of the amount of gold that the dollar bought between the turn of the 20th century and 1933 was consistent at around $26.40 per ounce. And it wasn't until Roosevelt put forth that proclamation that ever since, that price has just gone up and up and up. And what is the end result for that price of gold going up? Well, it's the value of the dollar going down. Quite a simple equation, but not so simple that people are able to wrap their heads around it. Because through something called incrementalism, you have been conditioned to adjust to those minor fluctuations. Those minor fluctuations. Think of your parents and your grandparents, and your grandparents in particular. When you were a kid and you had to do a chore for grandmother or grandfather, and when you were done with that chore, they would dutifully place a quarter, maybe even 50 cents in your hand. And you would look up at them and think, is that all my labor was worth to you? You were being ungrateful, and they were merely showing you what it was worth to them as they were growing up. The value of the dollar had dwindled that much that your perceived value was not anywhere close to their perceived value. So,
you just mentioned something. You said something that I've been on my mind a lot. One of the things that they are trying to do to us is tear down the family. That's why we have a gay president with a transsexual wife in office right now, who's declared this month the gay and lesbian, June is the gay and lesbian and transgender month to honor these how would the Bible term them? Well, I won't even go into that.
Abominations?
Abomination. I don't... Abomination, I guess, is pretty much it. But, you know, I mean, I don't care, and I've tried to tell people this. I've never gone up to anybody and just asked, are you Jewish? I judge people by their actions. I judge them by their fruits. And I frankly don't care what you do with your partner in the privacy of your own home, as long as you're not trying to seduce or influence my children or my grandchildren.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a certain amount of balance there. I'm not one of those religiosity or Bible thumpers, although I do believe that the Bible is a powerful tool, and they warned us 2,000 years ago to beware the Jews who say they're Jews but are not, or of the synagogue of Satan. And I think that's what we're facing right now. How Jesus could know that 2,000 years ago, but because there wasn't even a word for Jews at that time. They called them Edomites or Canaanites or something like that. And so, you know, this and we've certainly got the biblical story about the beast 666 warning us, you know, not to take the mark of the beast. But if we didn't, we wouldn't be able to buy or sell. That's the whole technology that they've got with these chips now. And one of the good Jews that my friend tells us we should look for, Aaron Russo, told us about that, told us what the Rockefellers had planned for us with the chips. Well, if you don't do what we say, we'll just turn off your chip.
They've already done that.
That's right.
You don't get it. They've already done that. Whenever anyone in this country achieves something called citizenship, they do get the mark. That mark is not something that is embedded in your skin. It is embedded in your freaking butt by virtue of the wallet that carries your Social Security card.
That's right.
That is today's mark of the beast. You just don't know it. Because without that security card, the Social Security card, you do not exist in this country. And you cannot be engaged in commerce in this country.
Well, you know, I never thought I would be in that system, but after my accident 10 years ago, May 20th was a 10-year anniversary of their attempt on my life. If I hadn't gotten Social Security, because they killed every source of income I had, because they killed million-dollar magazines that I had built, they took it away. They took it away, they took my family away, and they did their best to kill and break me a $750,000 hospital bill. The only thing I could do was go on Social Security, and I guess I'm just lucky I was old enough when they tried to kill me. I'd lived long enough when they tried to kill me to qualify for Social Security. And it's the only thing that keeps me alive right now.
Yeah. So you see, you're part of the system, and there's no real way to break free of it and continue to feed yourself. Your body's broken. You have no capabilities remaining, and this is something that has been literally done to you. So, who is responsible, and to what end? Well, listen. There is a thing in the common law that scares the bejeebies out of those attorneys. That's why they have fought so desperately to keep it out of the light of day. And it goes to making a person whole. When a person is damaged, they have the right to seek redress. They have the right to have those damages repaid. Our damages come from what has been done to us through the corporation. The corporation is part of, or maybe we are a part of the corporation.
A bumblebee caught in a spider's web in my window, fighting for survival.
Go ahead. I accidentally hit something here.
Yeah. The corporation is the entity that has done each and every one of us harm. The corporation is also the entity that has been holding on to and gathering the wealth of the nation. In many cases, taking that wealth and spiriting it offshore to ports unknown. That's okay, folks, because that corporation is responsible for your damages. And that corporation can be hunted down like the dogs they are, can be fleeced of every asset that they own, and its principals, its supporters, can likewise be hunted down, whatever assets they have seized, and all of that can be repatriated with those that have been damaged. Us.
Well, you know, I have tried to talk to some people about that. The attorneys certainly don't want to work with me, but, you know, they even sent people in. They sent a woman in to help me, handed me a check for $10,000, and then wanted to help me build Liberty Villages. And I think Liberty Village is still the real answer for what we're faced with today. Take back restore the self-sufficient family farm, do exactly what they've done in Germany for the farms in outlying regions, put solar on the roof, windmills on the above the farmhouses, and generate your own energy and grow your own food, and suddenly you're free. You're operating on exactly what God gave us. And as soon as I came out with the whole Liberty Village concept, that was when they tried to kill me too. And especially at the same time, I came out with the True Face of FEMA, filming the first Homeland Security, and everything I talked about, or this that I pointed out in this speech that John Brinkerhoff gave to law enforcement in Albuquerque well over 10 years ago now, is happening right now. Folks, the same folks that run Israel today are the Neo-Bolsheviks working out of the city of London. They've been able to infiltrate and hijack America by buying, compromising, or owning almost every member of Congress, the U.S. Government officials, and federal judges. They've been able to coerce the last two American administrations to wage illegal, unconstitutional, unprovoked, undeclared war in the Middle East through their use of nuclear blackmail. And they are in the final stages of transforming America into a neo-Bolshevik police state with DHS as the new red cheka, or some insiders refer to as the new American Gestapo or Stasi. Because of the Patriot Act, NDAA, and other supporting legislation by Congress that betrayed America, these neo-Bolshevik invaders are now gaining complete jurisdiction and control of your local police department, the alphabets, and most American intel, including the CIA. So, what is the name of this neo-Bolshevik mega police and intel agency that has hijacked America and is now taking control of your local police, politicians, and you and your family? It is called the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and that was the wet dream of former Stasi head Marcus Wolf, who was hired as a consultant to set this mega police state on behalf of the World Zionists, the Israeli-American, Israeli-first dual citizen traitors, including the neocons, the PNACers, AIPAC principals, and the Denver Circle of the 12 bloodthirsty ones. DHS was started by these Bolshevik dual citizens like Michael Chertoff, translated from Russian as son of the devil. DHS has a sordid history so far, marred by perverted management and sexual scandal. One which was leaked into the controlled mass media was quickly suppressed was the lawsuit from some male DHS managers who twisted sister forced to move their offices into the male lavatory. There's so many rumors inside DHS of lesbo action in the top office of the DHS started to be called the Homeland Security by insiders. You know, think about our president, a gay president with a transsexual wife as her first lady of America. I mean, I have a real hard time with this. I mean, it's, you know, think the Bible's accurate. I mean, these people, not only is Obama illegally holding the office of president, but I've referred to him as the perfect New World Order leader because he is homosexual, he is a communist, he is Jewish, he is a Muslim, and he pretends to be a Christian. Talk about sacrilege.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. And listen, I want to thank you, Clayton, for having me on the show today. I had no earthly idea when we talked last night that this was what today was going to bring. But I have a large number of people that I'm now going to have to bring together for the purpose of figuring out how we distribute this this information, because it is that important. I will keep you abreast of this as we go along. You might want to touch base with me later today to see how that works out. But I'm trying to get these people together as quickly as humanly possible. We can't sit on this at all, especially not in light of the recent events that are going on out there. If we can beat them to the punch on this, then it's always better to act first, and if we're wrong, ask forgiveness than it is to wait for them to tell us no, you can't do it.
Well, if there's any way I can help, I will. I will try to make it to the Texas Liberty meeting up there in Waco.
Well, yes, actually there is. You need to talk to the people out there who are coordinating that, and as soon as humanly possible, put them in contact with me so that I can get them all on the same page. And it may be something like that Waco meeting, that they can coordinate the grand jury to do that which has to be done across the country. But there's no reason why anyone armed with the proper information can't do this, convene this in their locale. So what's the gentleman's name from Texas?
Looking on that, let me see here. I think that's what I've got him down here is Thomas Earl, but that's the phone number I've got for him. Here's Thomas Maddox, the Texas Liberty Alliance.
Okay.
If you'd like to talk to him, I can bring him up.
I'll like to talk to him on the side if you don't mind.
Okay, I will let him know. I'll put him in touch with you.
After your show, please do that, okay?
All right, sir.
And all right, and you'll be said as soon as get with this core group and we figure out how we're going to get this information out there, I'll let you know.
All right, sir. I will add him up. I'll bring him up and talk to him as soon as you hang up.
Okay, that'll work, and I'll stay on, but I've got to craft a message out to my.
I understand. You got a lot of work to do. Go right ahead.
Yes, sir. And God bless everyone. And you know, this is a new day, and it's, I can tell you a new day for me, unlike any that I have experienced in my lifetime. And I guess you're going to be very soon realizing what this all means. And I just want to say that I hope that you have your faith in God. I hope that you have yourself prepared for the battles that lay ahead, because there are battles, and survival is one of the biggest ones. Prepare for that.
Well, I believe that I've got ample proof that God is there. He cares, and He's kept me alive when the expert said this guy will never make it.
You got it. God bless everyone.
God bless.
We'll talk to you real soon.
All right.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Carl Swenssen. His links are up on my website. And let's see if I can get Thomas up here. Let's see. Hello, Thomas. Are you there?
Yeah, but remember, this microphone's screwed up.
You want me to call you on your other number? This is Clay Douglas.
Yeah, I know. I recognize your voice, bud. What are we doing?
Well, I just had Carl Swenssen on my show, and he has breaking news about the whole common law grand jury and everything going on. He says it's pretty earth-shaking. He wanted me to put you in touch with him. I told him about the meeting in Waco, and I would really like to attend that meeting if I can come up with the gas money, and if I can come up with a dog sitter or a way to bring my boys up with me, because I can't leave them alone that long for me to travel up to Waco. But
yeah, give me a holler on the phone.
Okay, I'll call you right back.
Bye.
Lost Prairie Mayor's office.
All right, I got you here, Thomas.
What did Carl have to say about the common law grand jury?
Well, he's still happy about the results in Nebraska, but he's got some kind of breaking news. He was a little vague about that. It may be that this part of this thing about General Ham being appointed to lead and command the Grand Army of the Republic and its successors under the guidance of the Joint Chiefs and with their full support. That's something we talked about earlier. Came from, I think, the Unified Maine Common Law Grand Jury.
Okay, now, the National Liberty Alliance is denouncing the guy that wrote that as to not give the nationwide push guys from Maine, the Unified Maine Common Law Grand Jury. So they're kind of denouncing that to not put the EI and the National Liberty Alliance movement, to go nationwide with this thing.
Well, what do they want to do? I mean, I thought we were all working together on this, and everything they're saying in this order that the order stipulated that it should it become necessary to suppress commercial mercenary forces operating under the guise of being federal government agencies.
I even been on the phone up and man up to him.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Like I say, I've talked to the author of that court order. Thing.
Yes, sir.
A receipt number, checked and verified all that, and talked to the guy. He's very coherent, very smart, very intelligent. I just, he had to go. For probably the next. I hope it's not the federal agency, but we're not there yet. Okay, there's a lot of things going on. I don't know this General Ham. I don't know if he's real or if they use his name. I don't.
He is the one that that tried to do something about Benghazi, and he was relieved by somebody in his staff. So it had to be presidential interference into the whole Benghazi thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I
don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Carl. Are you still with me?
Yeah, I had to come back in. Thomas, this really isn't about that. It isn't about the individuality that we're talking about, which is the difference between John and these other guys. This is something different that I need to talk to you about concerning what's going to go on in Waco. So, Clayton, if you'll pass my number on to him so that he can give me a direct call and we can talk about this. I'm not, Thomas, I'm not about trying to drive any wedges. It has absolutely nothing to do with that little dispute that's going on, okay?
Okay. Thomas, this is Carl Swenssen. I will send you up on via your Skype. I will send you up the information, his information, and you can get in touch with him.
Okay, if you will, do you have free long distance, Carl?
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't have free long distance, so if you can't give me my phone number and have him call me.
I'll give you, okay, I'll give him your information.
Just put it in Skype if you would, Clayton.
I will. Okay, Thomas, I just wanted to bring you up and inform you of that. I will put you in touch. I will send Carl your information.
All right, and talk to you soon.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Right. Hopefully I can see you in Waco. If you've got anybody down in this area, in the Corpus or Victoria area, that's going up and maybe got a vehicle or a way to get my motorcycle up, I'd appreciate it. Oop, all right, I lost him. Tell him about that. That I'm trying to get up there, Carl. Thank you.
Okay, I'm trying to work here and cut back in. Yeah, okay. Just get that number to me.
I'll get it over to you right now. Bye-bye. All right, let me do that. So hang on here. All right, stay with me. Actually, tell you what. Let me do this for a second. Luciferian stuff.